And it shows as if people are not even interested in their election. We have the worst, the least. Never been to a country that has the low numbers we have, tens of percentage of voters. I think INEC need to do something about it, need to study it, get consultants to look at it, and what is the cause, and do something.
Jonathan, however, reiterated that he had listened to the appeal and would continue consultations before making any political decision ahead of 2027. Elsewhere, factional leadership of the Obedient Movement has announced the expulsion of Peter Obi from the group ahead of the 2027 general elections. The group also declared the removal of Yunusa Tanko and other individuals associated with what it described as an unauthorized leadership structure that emerged after the 2023 elections. Speaking during the press briefing in Abuja, the group's international coordinator, Barry Avotu Johnson, accused the former leadership of using the platform for personal and political interests.
In line with our commitment to accountability, transparency, and organizational integrity, we hereby declare that all individuals who assume leadership positions or acted on behalf of the movement without the consent of its original founders are no more recognized in any capacity. Number one on the list is the former Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, and Alhaji Yunusa Tanko, who is holding sway right now, meaning that they are all expelled and remain expelled from the movement as leaders and members respectively.
Johnson revealed that the movement has not adopted any presidential candidate for the 2027 elections and no longer maintains ties with the Labour Party. And now away from politics, the Senate has passed the 2026 Electoral Acts Amendment Bill aimed at clarifying court jurisdiction in the handling of pre-election matters. The bill was passed following the presentation of a report by the Senate Committee on the Independent National Electoral Commission, chaired by Simon Lalong, during plenary today. Lalong said the amendment will eliminate uncertainty, multiplicity and inconsistencies associated with determining which courts have the authority to hear pre-election cases. The amendment specifically targets Section 29 of the Electoral Act and introduces a new Section 29A to clearly define jurisdictional competence in pre-election matters. Following the passage of the bill, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said the amendment would strengthen Nigeria's democracy and improve governance by providing greater clarity in electoral dispute resolution. The proposed amendment seeks to address gaps, timelines and jurisdictional issues surrounding the resolution of pre-election disputes in Nigeria's electoral process. And now the House of Representatives has constituted an ad hoc committee to investigate debts owed to the federal government by state actors, private organizations, ministries, departments and agencies. The resolution followed concerns raised by Salisu Yusuf over Nigeria's rising debt burden and declining revenue profile. According to the lawmaker, successive administrations have focused heavily on debt servicing and fresh borrowings while paying limited attention to recovering funds owed to the federal government. The House expressed concern that the inability to recover public funds had contributed to Nigeria's revenue crisis and encouraged the unlawful retention of government resources. The House subsequently appointed Oluwole Oke as chairman of the investigative panel. The committee is expected to examine all outstanding liabilities owed to the federal government, review recovery efforts by relevant agencies, and report back to the House in 4 weeks. And now to diplomatic matters, where the federal government has said it will not remain indifferent while Nigerians face harassment and humiliation in South Africa, declaring that arrangements are underway to evacuate citizens willing to return home. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, made this known while responding to concerns raised by South African authorities over Nigeria's planned evacuation of its nationals amid renewed protests targeting foreign nationals in South Africa. Odumegu Ojukwu said she had engaged with her South African counterparts on the situation, stressing that the immediate priority of the federal government is to facilitate the safe return of Nigerians who voluntarily wish to come back home. She reiterated government's commitment to protecting the welfare and dignity of Nigerians abroad. In the meantime, former Minister of Aviation Femi Fani-Kayode has announced that President Bola Tinubu has approved his posting as Nigeria's ambassador-designate to South Africa. The announcement comes after he was initially posted to Germany. In a statement today, Fani-Kayode explains that he made a formal request to the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, to be redeployed to South Africa for personal reasons. He added that he applied for the redeployment just 2 days after the initial announcement and that Tugar kindly conveyed his request to the President, who graciously approved it. The former Minister of Aviation also denied reports that he was rejected by Germany, describing the story as a total fabrication published by an irresponsible media outlet. And now to education, where the federal government has unveiled a major reform in Nigeria's examination system with the introduction of computer-based examinations (CBE) by the National Examination Council (NECO). The announcement was made today during NECO's 25th anniversary, where the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, said a transition to technology-driven examinations would help curb examination malpractice and improve the credibility of Nigeria's assessment system. According to the minister, the computer-based examination system is expected to commence this year and will enable real-time monitoring of candidates, detection of suspicious activities, and stronger examination security. Alausa described NECO as a major institution in Nigeria's education sector, noting that the examination body had evolved into a credible and internationally recognized assessment organization over the past 25 years. From education to legal matters, where Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court Abuja has convicted the former Minister of Power, Saleh Maman, of a 12-count charge bordering on fraud and money laundering filed against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Delivering judgment, Justice Omotosho held that the anti-graft agency successfully established the former minister's culpability beyond reasonable doubt. Maman, who served under former President Muhammadu Buhari, was not present in court today, forcing the judge to issue an arrest warrant ahead of next hearing.
As my Lord delivered judgment, convicting him of all the counts, and the court has now adjourned to the 13th of May, next week Tuesday, for sentencing of the defendant. You will observe that he absented himself today without any justification, and the court has equally issued warrant of arrest against him to ensure that he is produced before the court for sentencing. That's just what transpired today.
The court held that he made a cash payment of $655,700, equivalent to about 200 million naira, for a landed property in Abuja without recourse to a financial institution. According to the EFCC, investigations revealed that the diverted funds were used to acquire high-value assets within and outside Nigeria. The court, however, fixed Tuesday, May 13 for his sentencing. Similarly, Federal High Court Kaduna has declined an application filed by former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai seeking a variation of his bail conditions in an ongoing corruption trial. Justice Relwano Aikawa delivered the ruling today during proceedings in the case brought against the former governor by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC. Justice Aikawa had previously granted the former governor bail in the sum of 200 million naira with two shorties in like sum, but ordered that he remain in ICPC custody pending the fulfillment of the bail conditions. Among the conditions imposed by the court are that the shorties must deposit their international passport with the court. One shorty must also be a serving civil servant, not below grade level 15, while the second must be a recognized traditional ruler. El-Rufai had approached the court seeking a relaxation of the conditions, arguing that they were difficult to meet. However, the court declined the request and subsequently adjourned to June 1st for continuation of trial. Back home, Lagos State Primary Healthcare Board has unveiled a 10-year primary healthcare financing plan framework to strengthen funding mechanisms, improve accountability, and ensure sustainable healthcare delivery across the state. The announcement came at the end of Conference 57 where key stakeholders in the health sector gathered to review existing gaps and develop long-term solutions for primary healthcare financing. Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, said the new framework represents a critical step towards achieving universal health coverage in the state. The retreat focused on identifying systematic challenges, improving operational efficiency, and expanding access to quality healthcare services across all local government areas in Lagos State. Still within the state wastewater management office has sealed several properties across the state following repeated violations involving discharge of untreated sewage into public drains. Among the sealed locations is Pinnock Beach Estate in Osapa, London, Lekki, where authorities said residents were found to be deliberately discharging untreated sewage into canal. Another property at 28 Amodu Street in Itere, Surulere, was also sealed after complaints from residents were verified, revealing continuous discharge of raw sewage into adjoining compounds. In addition, a property on Oladipo Dumoye Street within Marshy Hill Estate along Ado Road in Aja, Etiosa, was sealed for releasing untreated sewage into public drains. Authorities also sealed Vintage Heights Estate on Ojulari Street in a Legushi area of Lekki over similar violation. The enforcement exercise carried out today came after earlier warnings and abatement notices ignored by affected property owners and managers. And now to the north, where Governor of Katsina State, Diko Rada, says there are moles within the government, security agencies and local communities who supply information to bandits, aiding them in carrying out criminal activities. Speaking in an interview, Governor Rada explains that the fight against insecurity in the state is being undermined by individuals who leak critical security information to bandits. He specifically mentioned the notorious bandit identified simply as Mohammed, narrating how informants within government circles and communities allegedly provide him with intelligence that helps him evade arrests.
This notorious person that is disturbing Musa Matada, we know him, is Muhammad. That is his name. But the problem we have is the community. The communities are not giving the right information. The communities are helping, I can say in a way, some of them are helping him. There was a day I called for a meeting here, a high-level security meeting in the State Government House on how to operate and deal with the situation. 5 minutes after the meeting, he knows what we have discussed. His malls among the people in the communities will call him and tell him that the security are coming. They have followed this road, so they will lay ambush for the security. So this is the kind of situation we are.
Rada also explains that although he personally does not support negotiating with bandits, some communities requested permission to engage them in dialogue for their own safety. You're listening to News Express on Adami Mogo 93.1 FM Lagos. Still to come on sports, Valverde reportedly hospitalized after a training ground clash with Chomeni. And on entertainment, Kataife challenges Wizkid to boxing match.
You can listen to Adami Mogo 93.1 FM from any part of the world. Download the Adami Mogo 931 FM app from Google Play Store and Radio Garden. And follow us on Adami Mogo 93.1 FM on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have eyewitness stories or exclusive to share, contact the Adami Mogo FM newsroom via mail at newsroom@adamimogofm.com. Or you can dial 070-634-03583. You can dial 090-319-69629. Adami Mogo 93.1 FM Lagos, voice of the light.
Many thanks for staying with us, and now to the rest of our stories. On the flourishing Democratic Republic of Congo, President Felix Tshisekedi has said he was open to standing for a third term, angering opposition politicians who accused him of planning to break through mandate limits in the constitution and cling to power. Congo's constitution currently limits presidents to 2 terms, but Tshisekedi said any change would require a constitutional revision approved by referendum. Opposition figures criticized Tshisekedi's remarks, saying they could plunge the country into renewed political turmoil. Tshisekedi also said fighting in the east could make it impossible to hold the next presidential vote on time in 2028, raising the prospect of a delay. The president, who is the son of veteran opposition leader Etienne Tshisekedi, was re-elected in December 2023 for a second term. And now to sports. Real Madrid midfielder Federico Valverde was reportedly treated in hospital following a clash with teammates on Chomeni after a training session today. Reports indicated that disagreements between the two midfielders began during training on Wednesday and continued into Thursday's session. The situation worsened after a confrontation in the dressing room where Valverde sustained an injury which was not caused by a punch or direct contact from Chomeni. The Uruguayan international was reportedly accompanied to a medical facility near Madrid's training complex by coach Álvaro Arbeloa. Neither Madrid nor representatives of the two players publicly commented on the incident. The Spanish giants are preparing for a crucial El Clasico clash against FC Barcelona in La Liga on Sunday, with Barcelona leading the standings by 11 points and needing only to avoid defeat to secure another league title. And now to entertainment, where social media influencer Tunde Perry has sent a note of warning to controversial Nigerian streamer Kata Efe after he publicly challenged Grammy-winning artist Wizkid to a boxing match. The challenge was made during a recent live stream appearance where music executive KC and businessman E-Money handed over a 50 million naira check to Kata Efe for his victory over Portable in their celebrity boxing match. Reacting to the gift, Efe stated that he now wants to face Wizkid in the ring, adding that he would prefer Wizkid's son, Boluwatife Balogun, to be present during the fight. Responding to the statement, Tunde Perry, who's a known supporter of Wizkid, cautioned Carter, warning him to tread softly.
So because they will give you small chance, because they will give you small opportunity, I support you. Beat that boy. So now you don't win now. So now Wizkid is saying one fight with now. Kata Efe. So you don't get chance, Abi. Kata Efe, everybody's know your level, know your set. So you don't come here.
The dispute between both figures reportedly stems from Kata Efe's earlier tribute song to Wizkid titled Marchala, which he claimed did not receive sufficient recognition or support from the singer. And as we conclude News Express on Adami Mogo 93.1 FM this evening, here's a recap of the biggest stories. It was brought to you that former President Goodluck Jonathan has said he would consult widely before taking any decision after calls by youth groups urging him to contest the 2027 elections. It was also in the news that the Senate has passed the 2026 Electoral Act Amendment Bill aimed at clarifying court jurisdiction in the handling of pre-election matters. Finally, we told you Lagos State Primary Healthcare Board has unveiled a 10-year primary healthcare financing framework to strengthen funding mechanisms, improve accountability, and ensure sustainable healthcare delivery across the state. And that's News Express. On behalf of the production team, I am Ayo Adekeye saying thank you for listening. Good evening. Do stand by for the Yoruba version coming up in a moment.
Madam, see that my vehicle will be a like this. Why you go drink something they throw for ground like this? We have pick them up.
Sorry, sir. I didn't think it mattered.
Madam, it matters. Everybody knows they litter everywhere like this. You know go make sense. You know the right thing to do, so do it.
Whether on the road, in a bus or at home, dispose your waste properly. A cleaner Lagos begins with you. Feel bẹ́ẹ̀, má yí kúrò níbẹ̀, mo fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀.
àsìkò ìròyìn ti tó bóyá ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ̀bọ̀ lórílẹ̀ lálejò bóyá lọ́mọdé lágbà ẹ mú kalẹ̀ owó ẹ mú kalẹ̀ ọmọ ìròyìn tó jẹ́ òdòlówó rédíò nílẹ̀ tí máa gbọ́ 93.1 FM ìkànnì tó tayọ Lẹ́kì la máa fi kalẹ̀ sí nígboro Èkó Adámímọ́kò FM bóyá.
kúrò rẹ ní àbẹ̀ àsìkò ìgbìyànjú látòórọ̀ Elédùmarè yóò kún wa lérè gọbẹ nínú iṣẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ wa láṣẹ Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè. èyí náà ni àkótán ìròyìn tó ń dé sí etí gbọ́ yìí láti ìkànnì Adámimógo 93.1 FM nílẹ̀ kìfèsùn wà ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. ṣáájú ẹ gbọ́ àwọn kókó tó súyọ nínú ìròyìn náà. ààrẹ tẹ́lẹ̀ nílẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà Goodluck Jonathan náà ló ti sọ di mímọ̀ pé òun ní tẹ̀tì lórí àti máa ní ìfikùnlukùn tó gúnmọ́ pẹ̀lú àwọn ẹni ọ̀rọ̀ kan ṣáájú àti fi èròǹgbà rẹ̀ hàn láti díje dupò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ààrẹ orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà. ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin àgbà ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà náà ló ti buwọ́lu àtúnrọ̀ ìwé òfin ètò ìdìbò ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà. ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó náà ló ti ṣe àgbéjáde ìlànà ọlọ́dún mẹ́wàá lórí ṣíṣe àmójútó owó náà láti fi gbọ́ bùkátà ètò ìlera alábọ́dé ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. ẹ máa ṣe ń bá àwọn tí ń gbọ́ ìkànnì Adámimógo 93.1 FM Lekki phase 1 ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. èyí náà ni ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ ìròyìn náà Túndé Ọ̀làwùyí lóníròyìn. ààrẹ ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà tẹ́lẹ̀ rí Goodluck Jonathan náà ló ti sọ di mímọ̀ pé wọn ò ní tètè lórí àti máa ní ìfikùnlukùn tó gúnmọ́ pẹ̀lú àwọn ẹni ọ̀rọ̀ kan kó tó di pé òun fi èròǹgbà kan léde lórí bóyá òun ó díje dupò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ààrẹ ilẹ̀ yìí lọ́dún 2027. ọ̀rọ̀ náà ló fi léde lẹ́yìn tí àwọn ikọ̀ ọ̀dọ́ kan ṣe àbẹ̀wò ìlẹ́ńbọ̀n sí lórí àti fi èròǹgbà ọkàn rẹ̀ léde. ààrẹ tẹ́lẹ̀ rí ọ̀hún Jonathan náà ló sọ eléyìí mímọ̀ lẹ́yìn tó gbàlejò àwọn ọ̀dọ́ ọ̀hún lẹ́yìn tó ṣe àbẹ̀wò ìlẹ́ńbọ̀n sí lọ́fíìsì rẹ̀ nílùú Àbújá lórí àti késì lórí àti tó padà gẹ́gẹ́ bí ààrẹ orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà. ààrẹ tẹ́lẹ̀ rí ọ̀hún ó náà ní ọ̀sà kọmínà lórí bí àwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà ṣe túyàyà jáde tó nígbà ètò ìdìbò ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà lẹ́yìn tó sì jẹun tó bani lọ́kàn jẹ́ jọjọ pẹ̀lú bí a ti pọ̀ tó nílẹ̀ yìí. ààrẹ tẹ́lẹ̀ rí ọ̀hún náà ló ti wá sọ di mímọ̀ pé òun ti gbọ́ igbe ẹ̀bẹ̀ àwọn ẹni ọ̀rọ̀ kan ọ̀hún tí wọn ò sì ní tètè láti máa ṣe ìfikùnlukùn tó gúnmọ́ pẹ̀lú àwọn tí ọ̀rọ̀ kan kó tó di pé òun ó fi ìpinnu lédè lágbo òṣèlú bóyá òun ó díje dupò lọ́dún 2027 tí ń bọ̀. ọ̀yẹ́wò ti sọ di mọ̀ pé eégún ti Obidient ní orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n ṣe àtìlẹ́yìn fún Peter Obi òun náà ló ti kéde àti yọwọ́ kílàńkó Peter Obi kúrò nínú ẹgbẹ́ náà ṣáájú ètò ìdìbò gbogbogbò ọdún 2027 tí ń bọ̀. àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ọ̀hún náà ló kéde lẹ́yìn lónìí òde yìí pẹ̀lú bí wọ́n ti yọwọ́ kílàńkó Yunusa Tanko tó ń ti àwọn ọmọ ikọ̀ ọ̀hún yìí kúrò nínú ẹgbẹ́ ọ̀hún lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n sì ṣe àpèjúwe ìgbésẹ̀ tí wọ́n gbé ọ̀hún gẹ́gẹ́ bí àìsí ìdarí ilé tó gúnmọ́ láti ìgbà tí ètò ìdìbò ọdún 2023 ti wáyé nígbà tí wọ́n ń sọ̀rọ̀ ọ̀hún lónìí òde yìí níbi tí wọ́n ti ń bá ikọ̀ oníròyìn sọ̀rọ̀ nílùú Àbújá ẹgbẹ́ ọ̀hún eléyìí tí ẹni tí ń léwájú wọn níwùjọ àgbáyé ń bá ikọ̀ oníròyìn sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn Báyọ̀ Àvótù Johnson òun náà ló bẹnu àtẹ́lu ikọ̀ adarí ọ̀hún lábẹ́ àsíá ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú eléyìí tí wọ́n wà tẹ́lẹ̀ ò ti ṣe ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú ti Labour tí wọ́n sì pé wọ́n lo àǹfààní ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú ọ̀hún fún ìfẹ́ tara wọn nìkan tó ń ti ìfẹ́ inú ọkàn wọn lágbo òṣèlú orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà. Johnson òun náà ló ti wá sọ di mímọ̀ pé wàyí o ẹgbẹ́ òun náà ni ò tí ì yan ọmọ yìí kankan gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹni tí ó gbé àpótí ìdìbò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ààrẹ orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà lọ́dún 2027 tí wọ́n sì ní lẹ́nu lọ́lọ́ ìyàwó ní ìbáṣepọ̀ kankan mọ́ pẹ̀lú ẹgbẹ́ òṣèlú ti Labour nílẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà. àkótárò náà ilẹ̀ ń gbọ́ lọ́wọ́ níkànnì àdámimógo 93.1 FM ní Lekki phase 1 ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. wàyí àwọn àṣàṣọ́rí mọ̀ pé ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin àgbà orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà òun náà ló ti buwọ́lu àtúnrọ̀ òfin ètò ìdìbò tọdún 2026 lórí àti ṣe àpàdé tó ń ta àpáyọ ọ̀rọ̀ tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ilé ẹjọ́ tí ó máa gbọ́ àwọn awuyewuye ilé tí suyọ̀ ṣáájú ètò ìdìbò ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà. àbá tuntun ọ̀hún òun náà ni wọ́n buwọ́lù lẹ́yìn tí àwọn ìgbìmọ̀ àtẹ̀kótó lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin bẹ̀ lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ àjọ tó ṣe kò kárí ètò ìdìbò nílẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà ṣe àgbéjáde ìpinnu wọn lẹ́yìn tí Simon Lalong léwájú wọn nínú ìjókòó lónìí òde yìí. Lalong náà ló sọ ọ́ di mọ̀ pé àtúnrọ̀ ọ̀hún òun náà ni yóò jẹ́ kí wọ́n lè yanjú àwọn nǹkan tí ń ṣe àdínàgbòkú lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ilé ẹjọ́ ilé tó yẹ kó gbọ́ àwọn ẹjọ́ lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan ilé tó máa ń súyọ ṣáájú ètò ìdìbò nílẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà. àtúnṣe ọ̀hún òun náà ni wọ́n fi sọrí abala 29 ìwé òfin ètò ìdìbò orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà tí wọ́n sì tún ṣe àgbéjáde abala ọ̀hún tuntun ilé tí jẹ́ abala 29 ilé tó tún ní abala H nínú lórí àti ìfilé ma ilé ẹjọ́ gangan ilé tí ó máa gbọ́ àwọn awuyewuye tí máa súyọ ṣáájú ètò ìdìbò orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà. lẹ́yìn ìbuwọ́lù ọ̀hún ààrẹ ilé-ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin àgbà ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà Godswill Akpabio oníyìn ló pé ìgbésẹ̀ àtúnrọ̀ tuntun sí ìwé òfin ètò ìdìbò orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà ọ̀hún oníyìn ni ó lè jẹ́ kí ètò ìṣèlú àwa ara wa lórílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà tó ń ti ìṣèjọba kó tún fẹsẹ̀ múlẹ̀ dandan eléyìí tí wọ́n fi lè máa yanjú àwọn họ́wùhọ́wù eléyìí tí bá ń súyọ ṣáájú ètò ìdìbò àti nígbà ètò ìdìbò nílẹ̀ yìí. wọ́n ní wọ́n ti sọ ọ́ di mọ́ lórí òde yìí pé alákòóso tẹ́lẹ̀ rí fún ọ̀rọ̀ ìgbòkègbodò ọkọ̀ ojú òfurufú nílẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà Fẹ́mi Fani-Káyọ̀dé náà ló ti kéde wípé ààrẹ Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu náà ló ti buwọ́lu ìyànsípò rẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí aṣojú orílẹ̀-èdè wa Nàìjíríà sílẹ̀ ti South Africa lákòókò yìí. ìpinnu náà ló wáyé lẹ́yìn ìrìnàjò lẹ́yìn tí ó ti rìn lọ sílẹ̀ ti Germany lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n pé kó lọ sí ilẹ̀ ti Germany. inú àtẹ̀jáde lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n fi léde lónìí òde yìí Fani-Káyọ̀dé òun náà ló sọ ọ́ di mímọ̀ wípé òun ké sí alákòóso fún ọ̀rọ̀ ilẹ̀ òkèrè ìyẹn ambassador Yusuf Tuga ìpè kí ó tún darí òun lọ sílẹ̀ ti South Africa láti máa jẹ́ aṣojú orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà sílẹ̀ ti South Africa òun pẹ̀lú èròǹgbà ọkàn òun lè tó yé òun dáadáa. kò ṣàfikún ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ pé òun pè fún eléyìí lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n ti kọ́kọ́ darí òun sílẹ̀ ti Germany lẹ́yìn tí ó sì pé ké sí Yusuf Tuga ìpè kí ó darí ọ̀rọ̀ sí ẹni ọ̀rọ̀ kan. lẹ́yìn eléyìí náà ni aṣojú Yusuf Tuga darí ọ̀rọ̀ sí ààrẹ Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu lẹ́yìn tó sì buwọ́lù láti pé kó lè jẹ́ aṣojú ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà sílẹ̀ ti South Africa. alákòóso tẹ́lẹ̀ rí ọ̀hún fún ọ̀rọ̀ ìgbòkègbodò ọkọ̀ ojú òfurufú nílẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà náà ló ti wá tako ìròyìn òfegè kan pé wọ́n tàkìtì pàkọ́ sóhun láti lọ sí ilẹ̀ ti Germany lẹ́yìn tí ó sì ṣàpèjúwe ìròyìn ọ̀hún gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìròyìn òfegè gbáà tí àwọn àríjẹ nídìí màdàrú oníròyìn orí ìkànnì ayélujára ṣe àgbéjáde rẹ̀ tí sì ń tàn káàkiri orí ìkànnì ọ̀hún. wàyí wọn ti sọ nínú ìpè àjọ ní ìtòrò ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ètò ìlera alábọ́dé ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó náà ló ti ṣe àfihàn ètò ọlọ́dún mẹ́wàá lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ìyàsọ́tọ̀ owó náà láti fi gbọ́ bùkátà àwọn ètò ìlera alábọ́dé ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó lórí àti jẹ́ kí àkóyawó wà lẹ́ka ọ̀hún àti lórí àti lè pèsè ètò ìlera eléyìí tí ó gíríkì fún gbogbo àwọn olùgbé ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. ìpinnu náà ló wáyé lẹ́yìn àpérò ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹtàdínní ọgọ́ta rẹ̀ lẹ́yìn tí àwọn ẹni ọ̀rọ̀ kan ṣe ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó níbi tí àwọn ìkọ̀kọ̀ péjú pésẹ̀ sí lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n fi ń dí àwọn àlàfo lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan lẹ́yìn tí ti ń súyọ ní àjọ ọ̀hún tòun ti àti wàgbọ́ dẹ́kun fún àwọn ìṣòro lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan nípa owó náà lẹ́yìn tó ti ń dé bá wọn lẹ́ka ètò ìlera alábọ́dé ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. wàyí ò alákòóso fún ọ̀rọ̀ ètò ìlera ní ìpínlẹ̀ yìí ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n Akin Àbáyọ̀mí òní ìlú ti wá sọ ọ́ di mímọ̀ pé ìgbésẹ̀ tuntun ọ̀hún òní ni yóò lè jẹ́ kí ètò ìlera kó tún tàn kálẹ̀ ní tìbútòrò ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. àpérò ọ̀hún òun náà ni lórí àti ìfilẹ̀ ìyanjú àwọn tí ń ṣe adínàgbò òkú fún ọ̀rọ̀ ètò ìlera ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó lákòókò ilé ìtawà yìí tí ó sì tún jẹ́ kí ètò ìlera kó lọ káàkiri àwọn ìjọba ìbílẹ̀ ní ìpínlẹ̀ yìí. wàyí wọn ti sọ di nínú pé àjọ ilé ìtọ́ni ṣe dídarí àwọn omi ẹ̀gbin lórúkọ ọ̀jọ̀kan sí ibi tó yẹ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó náà ló ti gbé àwọn ibùdó kan tìpa ní tìbútòrò ìpínlẹ̀ yìí látàrí pé wọ́n ń tàkìtì ìpàkọ́ tí wọ́n sì ń tàpá sí àwọn òfin lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan lè tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú àti máa darí àwọn omi ẹ̀gbin lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan síbi tó tọ́ àtẹ̀lé tó yẹ tí wọ́n sì pé àwọn ibùdó náà ni wọ́n ń darí ẹ̀ sí ojúta ilé tó sì lè ṣe àdínàgbòkú fún ètò ìlera àyíká. nínú àlàyé ọ̀rọ̀ náà ni wọ́n ti pé àwọn ibùdó tí wọ́n gbé ti pa náà láti rí ibùdó ti Pinnock Beach Estate ní Ọ̀sápá London ní Lekki níbi tí wọ́n pé àwọn ará agbègbè ọ̀hún òun náà ni wọ́n máa da àwọn omi ìdọ̀tí sí ojúṣà omi lẹ́yìn tí ó sì lè jẹ́ wúlàlágbà fún àwọn ará ìlú pẹ̀lú ṣíṣe àmúlò àwọn ẹ̀rọ afọ̀nmújáde. ara àwọn dúkìá mi eléyìí tí wọ́n tún gbé tìpa náà láti rí ojúlé 28 ní òpópónà Ahmadu ní Ìtìrẹ̀ ní Sùúrùlérè ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n pé wọ́n gbé tìpa lẹ́yìn tí àwọn ará àdúgbò ń ké gbàjarè tí àwọn ikọ̀ tí ọ̀rọ̀ kan ò sì tẹ̀tì lórí àti máa gbé ìgbésẹ̀ kò tó ọ̀hún. bákan náà wọ́n tún gbé dúkìá kan tìpa ní ojú òpópónà Ọ̀làdìpọ̀ Dùnmúyè ní Marshall Estate ní òpópónà Adóníàjà Etí Ọ̀sà lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n gbé tìpa pẹ̀lú ìwà kò tó ọ̀hún. bákan náà àjọ náà ló ti gbé ibùdó ti Vintage Heights Estate pa ní òpópónà Ojúlárí ní Ẹlẹ́gùṣì lágbègbè Lẹ́kì ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó Etí Ọ̀sà látàrí pé àwọn náà tàkìtì pakọ́ sí àwọn òfin eléyìí tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú àti máa darí omi ẹ̀gbin sọ́nà tó tọ́. wàyí o àwọn ikọ̀ náà ló ti wá sọ́ọ́dì mọ̀ pé ìgbésẹ̀ ọ̀tún náà ló wáyé lónìí òde yìí lẹ́yìn ìkìlọ̀ eléyìí tí wọ́n ti ṣe fún àwọn ibùdó ọ̀hún tí wọ́n sì ya kọ̀rọ̀ sí lórí ìkìlọ̀ náà. wọ́n àkótán rẹ̀ fún tirẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀tọ́ ní òde yìí náà ni kò ní jù báyìí lọ abẹ́kẹ́ tó máa lọ ẹ̀gbọ́ kókó inú ẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i. àṣàmú àfihàn pé ààrẹ tẹ́lẹ̀ rẹ̀ ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà ní ààrẹ Goodluck Ebele Jonathan náà ló ti pé òun ò ní tẹ̀tì lórí àti máa ní ìfikùnlukùn tó gúnmọ́ pẹ̀lú àwọn ẹni ọ̀rọ̀ kan ṣáájú kóun tó fi ìpinnu léde bóyá òun ó díje dupò gẹ́gẹ́ bí ààrẹ ilẹ̀ yìí lọ́dún 2027. bákan náà la mú wá fún pé ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin àgbà ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà náà ló ti buwọ́ lu àtúnrọ̀ òfin ètò ìdìbò ilẹ̀ yìí tọdún 2026 lórí àti lè jẹ́ kí ọ̀rọ̀ ètò ìdájọ́ lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan kí ó fẹsẹ̀ múlẹ̀ dandan pàápàá jùlọ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn awuyewuye tí máa ń súyọ ṣáájú ètò ìdìbò nílẹ̀ yìí. bákan náà la mú wá fún pé iléeṣẹ́ ilé tí ń rí sí ọ̀rọ̀ dídarí omi ẹ̀gbin sọ́nà tó tọ́ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó iná ló ti gbé àwọn ibùdó kan tì pa látàrí pé wọ́n tàkìtì pàkọ́ sí àwọn òfin dídarí omi sọ́nà tó tọ́ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. àìsàn mú àfikún ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó náà ló ti ṣe àgbéjáde ìlànà ọlọ́dún mẹ́wàá lórí ọ̀rọ̀ owó náà láti fi gbọ́ bùkátà àwọn ilé ìwòsàn alábọ́dé ní ìpínlẹ̀ yìí. tó àkótán ìròyìn fún ti ìrọ̀lẹ́ tòní òde yìí náà lórúkẹ sí àyín níkànnì adámẹ́múgò 93.1 FM ní Lekki Phase 1 ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó. Ayọ̀ Adékẹ́yẹ náà ni olóòtú ròyìn ọ̀hún. Túndé Ọ̀làwì ló mú wá sí etí gbọ̀yìn ẹ mọ̀ ṣe ń tẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wá kò ní ṣùwà ṣe o.
orí mi ti pé báyìí.